Hello, and welcome to the first of what I hope will be many shows. This is the Wild Wayne Show. It's July 1st, 2024, and I'm bringing to you, live here on my YouTube channel, my show. I'm shooting from the hip today. I'm trying to do my first one, trying to get my voice, trying to get my bearings, trying to get back into this. I haven't done something like this since the 90s. Yes, I'm old. I'm Gen X. I've been around a lot. I've done a lot of things. I started in the 90s on college radio. I wanted to be the next Howard Stern. I wanted to just have fun and just do a show that was about fun and making fun of things and doing things. And it's easy to make fun of things now because there's so many things to make fun of. Like, oh my God, what is going on in the world today? So I started off there in college radio. And I went on to professional radio, weekends doing classic rock, then overnight doing progressive alternative rock on a station out of Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Kind of ran into some issues there. I went 3 months without getting paid and having meetings with the general manager. And that kind of led to me saying, you know what, I'm going to art school. So I went to art school because I love doing comics. I love doing comic books. I love drawing and art and illustration. And I've done a lot of comics. I've done some comics. I did a comic years ago called Weeping Willows, based on characters I created. I worked with some wonderful people making that comic happen. Then I got rear-ended by a dump truck and gave me a double concussion, which kind of put an end to that comic altogether. I just had so much difficulty getting back into comics and writing, period, let alone that one. And a lot of hardship in that, and a lot of pain and suffering, and I'm not going to go into that. But that is kind of like what happened to me. I went to art school where I met some of these people and created that comic. I graduated, got a bachelor's degree in graphic design, which never led me to any professional work anywhere for any company. I just never got hired. I would get interviews. I would do interviews. I would submit applications, but it never transacted into me actually becoming a professional graphic designer. I've done a lot of side work professionally on my own for people, letterheads, logos, things like that. Done a lot of comics, like I said. Some of my comics history I've done, let's see, where do we start? I did Lesbian Zombies from Outer Space, which was a great series I worked on from complete to end. Now a graphic novel out there somewhere. Please feel free to look it up. Lesbian Zombies from Outer Space. It is an homage to all those horror movies that we grew up loving, like Plan 9 from Outer Space, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, movies like that. If you love those kind of movies, you will love this series. It is an adult content series, but that kind of humor is more adult. Let's be honest. We had a rating system that said, oh, kids can't laugh at that, which I don't know why. South Park proved everybody wrong on that. But yeah, that was a series I did, and I loved it. I missed doing it. I did Like Father, Like Daughter for a couple years. I did about 6 issues, I believe it was. I came into some financial hardship. It was just more difficult for me to carry on that series than it was to do it. It was just a hard time in my life. I've had a lot of hard times in my life. Maybe we'll go over those sometime. I don't know. Right now, just trying to give you a background on who I am and what I'm doing. Let's see. I did Heroinberg, which is a series I do time to time. I do half the issue with another colleague of mine. Great story, great fun. And now I'm working on Lame Duck Nation, which is my own creation on webtoons.com. I started Lame Duck Nation in December of 2023. I created this character, Mallard Drake, a political news show host in the media, doing political news so I can make fun of politics, because let's face it, there's so much to make fun of in politics. These guys are so crazy on both sides of the aisle. There is no aisle. It's just a pile of craziness. Let's just be honest. These guys are just in a world of their own. They have no idea what's going on outside of where they live, do they? And that's just so much humor to make fun of them. Case in point, Jimmy Kimmel and all the late night show hosts who are making so many great jokes at the expense of so many horrible politicians. And that's just where it is, and that's where I kind of like being involved in. I do not have any financial support. It's all me working to make this happen. I make everything happen. The videos, the artwork you're seeing here is all my original artwork, which I put up there. It is up there based on popular culture influences, comic books, the world around us, some of the things I love the most, some of the things I don't like a lot. So this is just my artwork. And this artwork is available. If you like a lot of it and you want to buy some of it, you can find it on my Redbubble shop, which is wildwayneshow1 at redbubble.com. You can find my comic strip, Lame Duck Nation, on webtoons.com. Hopefully you go check it out. I have, like I said, about 6 months worth of material. I started off as a daily comic strip, now at the comic book page. I'm evolving this into something, I hope, other than just me having some fun and shit and giggles at my own expense, which is probably what it is, but I hope you find it entertaining. I hope you find some kind of relation to it, as I do. I like telling odd stories, and I'm now getting into the writing of my career. I've never really gotten into writing. I've always been the artist. Writing for me has always been a visual thing. So that's why you see all my artwork here. I like to tell stories visually. I like to grab your eye. I like you to, obviously I love you to love my opinions and my view on the world. Everybody does. I hope you find it humorous, especially the stuff I think is funny. But yeah, you can check it out. So what else to do during this show? Well, I've been kind of shooting from the hip here, thinking of how I'm doing this. And one of the things that kind of popped up today as I came in here into my studio to try and do this podcast show was today in revealing news, the Supreme Court came down with their decision on the presidential immunity decision that they were supposed to be making, and I'm not sure they made one. As it come to understand it, basically they say, yes, the president in his official capacity has immunity. Okay? But if it's not his official capacity, he does not. It's pretty much all they said. That is all they said. Now it has to be delayed further as it goes back down to court as to whether or not what they're trying to convict him of was an official capacity as president or unofficial capacity as president. And quite frankly, I just find it so disheartening, so horrible that we are arguing whether or not a man elected to office, any man, not just Donald Trump, could be Joe Biden, could be JFK, could be Ronald Reagan, has immunity above the law. No, you don't. I'm tired of it. Let's just be honest as people. If you give someone immunity above the law, you're giving them an opportunity to break the law. We all know it. It's common sense. I disagree with it. I do not understand their decision, or people who think along that lines, because if it was not their guy in the opposite of their guy, they would hate it. And so they're creating this tension by allowing it in the first place. And I just do not understand why it just goes beyond my logic and reality of how that can happen. And I'm not sure why people want to allow this to happen. Why do we want politicians to be above the law? To say that they can do whatever they want. They can get away with it because they're privileged. And they'll make the excuse, it's on both sides, all politicians. No, they should. None of them should be allowed. That's the argument. That's the final argument. None of them, regardless of the initial you put next to them on a ballot, none of them should be allowed. And the argument they like to say, oh, because they did it, we can do it. No, none of them should be allowed. Okay, if yours do it and mine does it and theirs do it and yours does it and whoever's does it, they should all not be allowed. They should all go to trial. They should all go to court. If found guilty, they should allow the judicial system to proceed in the way it does. The idea of immunity is, it's such a heartache to hear my fellow Americans say that, oh, well, because they did it, we're doing it. No, nobody should do it, is the one thing we should all agree on. Nobody should be allowed to do it. And what's wrong with saying that? Why do we have to have it one way or the other? We don't. It can be. Neither side is allowed to do it. That is it. They don't think that one side is being prosecuted for it. For what? You have evidence? Bring it forth. Let's have a trial. Let's do it. If you don't have evidence, then you just can't make stuff up. And I'm not saying it's one side or the other. It could be both sides. It could be another side. It's time to stop. It's time to just say, enough's enough. And I believe it's this way, not because of emotions, not because of the truth. I believe it's this way for profit. Because if you look at the profit margins on these people making this, they're in the billions. They're making so much money off this, and that's the bottom line. Who's making money? Okay, they're making money. News outlets, they're making tons of money off this situation. Political aspects, political companies, they're making billions of dollars on this. Politicians, they're making billions of dollars off this. So I think the bottom line we have to look at is the reason we have this is because we are buying into it. We are giving them our money, buying into it. You want to stop this? Don't give the news medias another view. Turn it off. Stop listening to them when they talk about this stuff. Don't argue their points. Don't do anything. Fox News, MSNBC, all of them. Just stop. Turn it off. Stop. Don't do it. Don't buy. Don't give Donald Trump or Joe Biden a penny. Don't give political aspects anything. Don't give a politician anything. Give them nothing. Turn it all off. You stop giving them money, you will find out how fast we'll get whiplash by how fast they will change the tune in the media. But the problem is somebody's always going to send them $1. Somebody's always going to give them money because that is the culture we live in. You see it, you buy it, you own it. And that's where it goes. That's why we have this kind of culture, it seems like, in media, which is a lot of the things I kind of tackle with Lame Duck Nation. I like to tackle with Lame Duck Nation. I have very limited time to work on it, so I always have to shortcut the stories and the scripts and the artwork sometimes. And it's disheartening, but it is just the fact of the nature of the business. I have deadlines. I try to get to them as best I can, but because I have to work a regular job to make money to pay regular bills, I cannot afford to sit there and argue the point for an hour or two. I have 5 minutes. I have to make a decision. I have to go from it. So that is kind of the thought process of where we are in America, I think, really. You know, it's flying off the hip. It's making a quick decision and trying to make the biggest buck out of it. And that seems to be the business world we're in today, it seems like. So I'm just going to cut it short here because, like I said, I'm flying off the hip. I'm trying to find out where I'm going to go with this. I hope you enjoyed my voice and whatever it is I said here today and how it may relate to you in your life. I'm probably going to talk about more stuff in the future on the next episode. I will try to decide how and when I'm going to do the next episode. But until then, please stick by and stay on my channel, subscribe, and if you leave a comment, I will most likely see it. And I will comment to you. I'll give you some feedback on that comment. I am that kind of a person. I hope you enjoyed my artwork. I hope it didn't offend you, and if it did, I'm Gen X. I don't care. If it offended you, move on to the next one. Everything in life will offend you at some point, regardless. Thank you for tuning in to the Wild Wayne Show, the very first episode, and I hope to see you again soon.